Today is April 21st, 2022, and we are going into week 4 of April. So super excited to be going into the last and final week of the month. So we do want to make sure, obviously you guys know I always hit on this. We want to make sure that any business we have pending or that we have kind of in queue, that it is, being submitted, and it is being issued out, and we are following up with any requirements. The month will end on Wednesday, the 27th, in terms of Family First Life. So we want to make sure that we're on track to go into May strong. And right now we're ending, going into our last week of April. So I am super excited today. We have Miss Valerie Stewart on the call with us. She was Agent of the Month and very well deserved. I'm going to let Valerie kind of tell more about her story. But before I do jump into that, I just want to make sure that essentially, when we're on these calls, guys, I know that it can feel really sometimes like redundant, like we're hearing the same exact message every single call, or every single Family First Life call, we're hearing the same exact message. And one thing I really want to just go ahead and point to really quickly is we're hearing the same exact message because it's the same system, right? Like we're all following the same system. And if you're not following it, it's probably why you're frustrated. And the thing about this industry is, it's beautiful because it can, make you, it can help a lot of families, and it can make you feel, empowered on the inside and on the outside because you're helping families and you're helping your own at the same time. But at the same time, we can lose sight of what we have in front of us. It's like not everyone is in this business, and we want to remember that. Like when we don't feel like dialing, like, well, if you're not going to be dialing, like then what would that substitute for? So I really just wanted to kind of open up with that because everything here really is systematic. And I've been in the business for a long time, but in regards to like Family First Life, one thing I will always, always, always thank Paul McLean for, like always, is he always empowered me to make sure that if I was going to be building a business here, truly building a business and truly wanting to grow as an individual and as a person, that I was helping 30 minimal families a month. And the reason for that was because he wanted to make sure I was never stressed out or in a financial crunch, because we don't have to be in this business. It's a decision. And what I mean by that, it's a decision based off of your activity. And that might make some people on this call angry, but I think there's too many testaments of people, not only within our team, but within the whole entire company that's true for. So, I don't apologize for that tangent. I only apologize to you, Valerie. But thank you so much for hopping on with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So before we jump into things with you, Valerie, if you don't mind, just kind of open it up with, who you are, what you were doing, prior to Family First Life, and, what got you into Family First Life, how long you've been here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been here a little bit over a year. So my first dial day was March 25th of 21. So just over a year. And it was hard. Every single person on here knows that it's hard. Prior to this, though, I'm an Army veteran. I was a police officer. And then in the restaurant business, we owned we're the local owners of a restaurant here, which is a nationwide restaurant. But anyway, so I had an injury. It kind of took me out of that. And I left the police force when my second kid was born. It was just, I was working a paper childcare type thing, right? And then the world changed. How safe it is or not safe, right? And so I have a serving heart. I've always had a serving heart. So it's one of those things where it's like, what can we do, right? It kind of just fell in our lap as far as insurance goes. It's funny because my dad did this when I was growing up, and I never thought that I would be doing exactly what my dad did when I was growing up, but here I am. And so it gives me the ability to still serve, but safely. And, it's a little bit more impactful, when you have families who've lost somebody, knowing that you were able to put protection in place for them and fight for them. Because there have been times where people have got declined, and then we get them approved with America Eagle. And they're ecstatic, and so, but yeah, that's my story. 3 kids at home, husbands, I go out and, grind.
How old are the kids?
So Ryan just turned 7, and then Kylie's 9, and Alexis is 16.
Awesome. So hands full, but out there crushing it. Love
Hands
it.
full.
And I love how you talk about like the serving hard, because like everyone's like, you don't need any prerequisite. I do really feel like you have to actually care about people to be here like long term or to see success here. And if you don't, that could be the first problem, right? Right, Val? So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I
so
mean, I'm empathetic to people, and like I've cried in homes with people because, it's just like, that's what I do. I see people cry. I cry, like, and there's no control. That's just who I am as a person, but I'll kick your butt at the same time too, if I have to. It's the type thing, right? Like,
that's right. It goes both ways, right,
it
Valerie?
does. Absolutely.
Awesome. So, over the past, I would say like 90 days, or so, you really kind of made a lot of changes, or at least it shows. And, I think a lot of that is you're always plugged in. You're always on the dial team. You're always on the team call. You're always, watching the TNL, plugging into the trainings. Like, how important is staying plugged into the trainings, in the team calls? Like, how much has that really impacted you, over the year? And like, what do you think it would look like maybe if like you just stopped plugging in?
It would be completely different. Like step one was plugging in, like watching the trainings and stuff. And yes, it does sometimes feel like it's redundant, but it's redundant for a reason. You know what I mean? Because it works. Another thing is get to an office, like for sure. Like, and I mean, if you were on the call last week, I kind of went on a tangent as well. It's like, but it's true. Like, get to an office, because even if it's not the same group, which I'm not, the office I'm at is FFL Titans. They're not even in West Coast. But you can hear other people and you can absorb that. There's just little pieces that you hear and you're like, oh, that was a good little nugget. I'm going to use that, because that's what it's for. Nobody, like, it's all trial and error, right? Like, you try something, does it work? Yes. Does it work? No. Okay. Adjust, overcome. Make your tweaks to fit you and your personality, because sometimes it's not going to work. And there are people that you may watch and you're like, I don't really vibe with that. But then you see some other videos, 3-minute, 4-minute, 5-minute videos, YouTube videos that you're like, I love it. Like, there's Cass Carter has a 3-minute video. It's a setting the table in home. It is saved in my YouTube, and I literally listen to it every day when I'm going into the home, like driving to the appointment. 3 minutes.
Because that's what you sound like in the home, right? Like, to an
Yeah.
extent, right?
Yeah. I mean, I
I
could
just want to
literally
pause you
say
real
it.
quick
Like,
there,
I was
Val.
showing video to somebody here, and I was like literally saying it as she was saying it, like a song.
Right.
Like, we listen to music and we know the songs, right? I know this video
The
because I've
whole
watched
track.
it so much, or
Right.
listened to it. I'm driving, I'm not watching the video, but
Exactly.
But you find the people that you like and you plug into their videos, and they don't have to be hour longs. And you can't sit there and say you don't have time, because you can, like, literally, it's a YouTube video, and I'll just tip Bluetooth in my car and it goes through my speakers. I don't need to watch the screen. It's the
Right.
words that you're listening to.
Exactly. That's where the power is, right? And I
Mhm.
love how you flat out, you were like, Cass Carter, this video, right? You know how it's like, you got to find that person or those people that you resonate with on the phones, in the home, whatever it might be, your mindset. Because if you don't, it's going to make it a heck of a lot harder, right? And my favorite question is, who's your favorite trainer? That's how you know if somebody's actually plugging in. It's like, if you're not like, oh, my favorite trainer is Paul McLean, I love his 8 steps final expense, I'm like, where have you been? Like, so it's a great point. And I love how you just flat out brought that up. Hey, I listened to this on the way. So you're always plugging into trainings, team calls. You're always on the dial team. How valuable do you think that the dial team is for you?
Oh, I can't even put it into words, like put it on a chart, right? Because I feel like you can sit there and be like, oh, I suck on the phones, or, oh, I'm good on the phones. Like, however you might want to think that you are, right? But hitting unmute while you're dialing and having people listen to you, and it's not that they're judging you, but you think more. You're like, okay, somebody is listening to this, and somebody is potentially learning from me. Well, half the time you guys aren't listening to me, but anyway, no. No, but it, somebody is, right. And I've had people actually message me saying, ooh, like, I really like how you sound, like you're calm and everything. It hasn't always been that way, but you think more, okay, let me overcome this objective, instead of being like, okay, bye, and on to the next. And now don't get me wrong, I still do that sometimes because you can read people through the phone. The more you do this and the more that you talk to people and get yelled at and get hung up on and everything, there's some people that you can overcome. I had a lady yell at me earlier. She's like, literally answered the phone and she was like, take me off your list. I'm like, well, ma'am, I don't have a list. I'm just deciding to get you the information. I'm not a salesperson. And if you guys hear me, I always say I'm not a salesperson because that will take their guard down, right? And then there's people here who are like, but aren't you a salesperson? I'm like, no, I'm not a salesperson. Like, I'm here to help you. Salespeople are just here for the money. Like, I'm not here for the money. Yes, it's a byproduct, of course, but I'm here to help you and protect your family. So anyway, she hung up on me. She literally called me right back because number one, she had a different area code than the number I was calling from, which is a local area code. And I always, I use a burner phone, but I always keep the same area code that we live in, even if their numbers are different. And so she called me back and she's like, I'm so sorry. And we talked and I booked the appointment for tomorrow. So it's like,
right.
It's boom, like just overcome the objectives. And, if they're shitty to you, then yeah, you have every right to be shitty back. Like,
right. But it's like, if you never saw somebody overcome an objection, it's going to make it live. It's going to make it that much harder. Right. So
absolutely,
like being able to have that
absolutely.
interaction.
Yeah. And I've said this before, and some of you may have heard me say this before. If you're on the dial team and those of us who are dialing, if it's quiet and you get a pickup, hit unmute. We'll mute our line real quick, fast, and in a hurry to let you go through it. Please do it because you will get better. You will get better because you'll ask that question of what leads I work, but I get a lot of bad numbers and no answers. So you're going to see a period of time where it's just quiet. Just unmute.
For sure. I was going to say, unmute yourself. And that's the best way. It's like, almost like what it sounds like you're saying too, Val, is like when you unmute, it's like train the trainer, right? Like it's almost like you have somebody listening to you. You don't know like who's listening to who, right? Almost type of deal. And it's a good pressure. It's a positive pressure because it pushes you to say that extra thing that you might not have said if it was you sitting in your room by yourself, right?
Yeah, you know it all, right? Every single one of you know how to do it. It's just a matter of pulling it out. And when you are focused and you're really thinking, okay, somebody can hear me, you're going to pull it out. It's not going to be smooth the first time or even the second time or even the 800th time, right? Because everybody's different, but it will become easier.
Cash value is remember.
Oh, I thought someone was touching that.
Sorry.
No, that's
it will every single time. And like you said, it doesn't mean that they're going to say yes. They're not, they're not always supposed to say yes. They're called leads, right? They're not called sales. I wish they were called sales, but they're not. That isn't how it works. Everyone would do it, right? But exactly. So you want to make sure that like you're actually trying to rebuttal the person back who probably doesn't even know why you're calling like 50% of the time. But moving on, Valerie. So what are some of the daily disciplines that you've incorporated over the past 90 days or so that have allowed you to reach new levels of success?
Well, having your lead, like this, I've always been this way, but print your leads the night before, put them in order, whatever. Phone burner, I have phone burner. So when I import the Excel spreadsheet, it gets all miscombobulated. So I have to put them in order of what it's going to call. And then, really though, it was past 90 days, it was waking up and being like, I'm going to be at the office until 8 o'clock. I'm going to be at the office until 8 o'clock. And so then in my head, I'm at the office until 8 o'clock. And then I get my 15, 16, 17, 18 appointments. Before that, yay, I get go home early, right? But if I don't, we need to stay. We need to get them. And that was one of that, like literally that one little thing for me changed it. I was full appointment book, full 2 days, more than I'd ever got. Like I was consistently getting 11, 12 appointments, which is not terrible if you're new, But I'm like 9, 10, 11 months in. And I'm, well, really not 11 months, but anyway, before that, 9, 10 months in, right? I still hadn't got 15 appointments. So it's like, what if I have to get, what have to, but I was also leaving at 5:30, right? Like it's the end of the work day.
Yep.
You know, it's time to go home.
Time to go
and
home. Yeah.
make dinner and see my kids and, you know, all that stuff, right? Like, screw that. Like, I love them. I'll see them later. Like, I
Right.
can see my kids later. Like, let's do this. Let's change our lives and, you know, provide and do what I need to do.
Absolutely. And I love that, Valerie, because it's like, it's typically for everybody, it's a different change, but like, it's typically that one small change that literally can change everything. Because it's like, now, like when you go home, you probably feel better because you're like, I know I did what I was supposed to do today. Just like
Yep.
when you wake up, I know I woke up at the time I was supposed to. I know I got to the office. I know I made my dials. I know I got on dial team. I know I got on the team call. I know I plugged in. I know I had my 15 appointments now before 8 o'clock, so I get to go home early, right? Or I'm here till 8, who cares? Doesn't matter, I expect it to be, right? So seeing you kind of just like being in the office and doing that, your results are showing because those extra appointments, I always talk like on a monthly basis, right, Val? It's like, you think of a 4-week month, it's 120 appointments. So every week that we don't get our appointment count, it's like you want to look at it like if you only got 60, then you only work 2 weeks, but you're actually out there working in the field. So you've been filling that schedule up. So I've loved seeing it, and it's been really amazing to see, Val. So what does your schedule and lead flow look like week to week?
All right. So I have been on a 1-month CRM kick. I just work strictly CRMs. I don't have any mailers. I got to find some, but your standard companies, they're all taking these counties that I work. So it's okay though, because there's other ways, right? You know, no lead is bad lead type thing. You just have to work a little bit harder when they're a little bit older. But I like 1-monthers. That's what I've been working with. That's what I did all last month. Pick up
How
the
many
mortgage.
leads were you buying a week roughly?
It would range, it depended on if there's a discount or not. Okay. Because at the end of the day, right, it's still money that we have to spend in order to make. And so, but at least 100. Usually with the 1-monthers though, it was anywhere from 125 to 175 I would buy. Okay, they're $4 a piece. I mean, come on, like you buy 100, it's $400. We can do that. So it'd be about $500 each dial day. So 1,000 a week is what I would be spending. So as an average, I mean, I bought 100 leads last night and I spent $280 because of the discount code.
Boom. Get work
Like,
spots,
bro,
everybody.
like I'll go into like go sell one policy and I've made my money in that stuff.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And then being able to, I was going to say like literally work spots for the win. So like, if you don't have work spots, get on there. Literally value everything you hit on. Office discount code, like get yourself in the right environment,
It's
right?
by far the best $99 a month you will spend.
Hands
Like,
down.
Get rid of Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, and you can afford work spots, y'all. Like,
Amen. And you're going to save more than $99 too. So
probably your time, because you'll be out there working instead of watching Bridgerton or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm like, I know that I can see it on the thing, but I don't know how to say it either. However, so with that being said, so you're buying like at least like, you know, depending on the lead type, 125 to 150 leads per week or dial session.
Per dial session.
Okay, I'm just double checking.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Per dial session, you know what I mean? So we want to make sure, like, so Val, you're buying your leads on like the days before, right?
Yeah, I mean, if there's like, so especially like 1-monthers, right? Like a 1-month lead, literally, like if you buy it 3 days before your dial day, is not going to be any sort of different. Like, let's be real here. Like, yes, instance would be different because then they're going to go into news if they're not sold. But 1-month leads, like, I'm going to buy, as long as that discount code is good, I might wait till the night before. But if it expires, you better believe I'm going to buy those 2-3 days beforehand, not knowing if there's a good discount code coming, because it's not going to change. But you do come into, you want to buy more when you get the older leads, just because bad numbers, they've already got hit, right? They've already got coverage. They don't want to meet you to go over their annual policy review. But I like them because the phones have, the calls that they're getting has toned down some because it's been a time frame, right? They're not getting, just phone call after phone call after phone call. So they're more likely, if they do pick up and they do listen to me for about the first 5 seconds, they're most likely going to set an appointment with me because, okay, I really do need to get this coverage in place. It's been long enough.
Right, absolutely, 100%. And how about your schedule? What does your schedule look like? And what are like the non-negotiable days for you?
Oh, it's Monday through Saturday. Like Sunday is my day off.
All right, so you
Right.
dial on Monday, you run
I dial
Tuesday,
Monday,
Wednesday.
Thursday, and I run Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Now, don't
Okay.
get me wrong, like if there may be some Saturdays where I'll only work a half a day, but then I'll load up my Friday. Okay. So I'll run 10, 11, 12 appointments on a Friday and only run 3 to 4 on a Saturday. If I have some sort of kid event that I want to go to, because we're able to do that, right? Because we work for ourselves. So just put those appointments on another day. And then you
you're
can
not
have the time that you want to take off, that you're not going to get
Exactly.
from your boss if you work a 9 to 5.
100%. And you still know you ran your full schedule. You're just stacking up, the day a bit higher so that you can
Mhm.
have that rest of the day with your kids and with your family.
Yep.
Love it. And then, I used to always be like the system, like when I first got, I'm like, what's the system? That they're talking about? Like, what does that mean? Right. Like I came from a company where the system wasn't necessarily anything. There was no system. So I'm like, what does this mean? Like, because everyone always drops it, but like, with that being said, like, what is the FFL system? Like, what does that mean to you? Because my meaning is now, changed. However, what does it mean to you to kind of to follow that?
Well, I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Like, and it's been proven time and time again that you have a dial day and you have 2 run days. I've tried to change the system, y'all. Like, come on. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody's tried to change the system and think that you could not necessarily do better, but it could work another way. And maybe, but it didn't work for me. Like my husband and I were both doing this. So we changed the system, right? I dialed every day. He ran every day. Like, I don't want to dial every day. And well, kudos to Christina because she told me, you're not gonna like this, right? And I was like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I didn't like it. I have to be in front of people. I'm a people. You know what I mean? Like I like to talk. I like people, and on the phone, people are not as friendly as in the person people. And so just following the system. And if you have to adjust your days, okay, you do, right? Just know that you're not going to see as many dial teams if you have to run Tuesday, run Wednesday, Thursday, but dial for, 1 day and run for 2 days after that. But if you want to get the most out of it, follow it to a T, Monday, Thursday dial days, and then, run your other 4 days, excuse me.
Love it. So yeah, for sure. So like you're doing all the right things that like the system say, right? Like you're buying your leads, you're plugging into the trainings, you're plugging into an office, you're using work spots, which really is a big deal. And you're doing the activity. Like that's the big thing that like everyone you can do these for, but if you don't do the activity, no one cares. You can buy all the leads in the CRM, but like if you don't call them, like it doesn't matter, right? So it's like the essence of, like you said, you're a people person, right? Like I hear you. Like sometimes like I'm like, damn, I'd rather go door knock these right now, but that's not going to be, my most profitable dial day, right? So I hear you on that. But really just kind of following the system in every way. It seems like it's like always those small tweaks and adjustments. Like we want to miss one part of the system, whether that's, get on the phones and be in an office. Like we want to miss that one part and then try to say, oh, but it's still going to work this 100% way. And what you're kind of saying, Val, is like you just follow it to a T. Like it's not that deep. Like
yeah, it really isn't that deep. And
yeah.
I mean, if get into an office, you guys, the distractions aren't there. The TV's not next to me. The dogs aren't barking. The kids aren't asking for a snack. Like legit, like get into an office, even if you have to get your own damn office for $100 a month or whatever, but try to find an office away from your house. Make your car your office in a freaking parking lot. I've done it. I've done it.
Same.
And it worked just fine because I was away from my children. I was away from the distractions. It was just me, my computer, and my phone and my leads. So it's like, you got to get away from the distractions because we're human, and not everybody, if the distractions are around you, not everybody can focus and tune them out.
Absolutely. It's actually really difficult to do. The environment's going to dictate your behavior. And I think that's, says a lot, about you, Val. Like you said, like I've dialed in the car too, because I knew that whatever that other space was not going to be a healthy environment. I know I can go tunnel vision in my car. All right, let's do this. It ain't that deep, right? So how do you do well in the home? I feel like connecting with people, and how do you kind of set the stage in the home? Like, what does that look like for you?
So like it starts before the home, right? It starts on the phone. Like I'm a human, I'm here to help you. Like, let me help you. And sometimes I try to, I don't sound like a robot, right? And then obviously I do show up and they're like, oh, you're a real person. I'm like, yeah, I'm a real person. And it's just talking to them. Like it's always Miss Marisa, Miss Christina. Like, I don't care if you're younger than me, older than me, same age as me. It's always that. And then the dudes are just the dudes. So sorry guys. But it's just speaking to them, like, if they have kids around, toys, whatever, you might talk about it, like, oh, grandbabies, kids, whatever, how many you got? Oh, you have kids? Do they live local? Just chit chat. Why did you fill out the form? Why were you looking for this, right? That's part of it. So as I'm getting my stuff out, I'm asking them that, you're setting the stage from the get, shoes on or off, table, like it's, if you watch the trainings and you plug in, it's a standard, wipe your feet, shoes on or off. Oh, honey, keep your shoes on. You don't want to walk on this floor. Heard that? I feel that. Like, I get it, and so it's like kitchen table this way, and start walking. No, it's this way. Oh, my bad. Sorry. And it's just having conversation, and you start the conversation and you start just showing that you're a real person, but at the same time, you do need to get on with, why are we here? So why did you fill out this form? What were you looking for? Have you applied before? Have you got declined? Like, we're going to go over all this. This is what we're going to do. We're going to figure out which companies that you qualify with. We'll pull an MIB report, which is your Medical Information Bureau report. You've got one, I've got one, everybody's got one. Every time you go to the doctor, get prescribed medication, it goes onto this report. This is Cass Carter's video that I'm saying right now. And it's nothing fancy. You could say Milliman IntelliScript Bureau. They're like, huh? Like just Medical Information Bureau, y'all. Like it goes onto this report. And that's what they pull from. They're all non-medical plans. Nobody's, we're not going to poke and prod and make you pee in a cup. Like that's it. It's just, but go slow, ask them questions at the beginning. Like, and usually, as they're finding their medication, if they don't have them handy, you're just asking questions. Like, a lot of times I get a lot of veterans, me being a veteran, it has something in common. It's common ground. So we kind of just chit chat about that. Just, you don't have to get deep. It's not deep, like you got another person to go to, so we can't be there for hours,
Absolutely. And I love how you bring up, like you're finding a common ground, like, which is great, but you're not spending 20 minutes trying to find it. But you're also opening up with, these are non-medical. You're talking about the MIB, which anything medically is going to link to your social security number. Like we all know that, it's almost common sense. And you're basically setting it up to make sure that you're in the right predicament, you're in the right seat to be able to properly help that person. And that's kind of like the message you're relaying to them, right? Is like, hey, I'm here to help you. Like I'm a person too. And I just want to make sure I'm putting you guys in the best position today before I leave. Like, this is what we're going to do so that they're not caught off guard. And then you're just kind of moving right along. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. And, sometimes like connecting with a client or just a person, right, can be difficult. What are some ways you find common ground so that the client almost, feels comfortable with you enough and knows that you're actually just truly there to help them?
I talk about my family. Like I'm not, I'm a person too. I live local. So, we'll talk about something local and, you know, but a lot of times I do talk about my family. I'll even show them a picture, like, here's my kids, like it was, or like on my iPad, which I'm on right now, but the main screen is a picture of my kids. That's from years ago. But they're like, oh, there's your kids. I'm like, yeah, this is actually a long time ago. Like, they're a little bit older now. He's 7, she's 9, she's 16, you know, and they're like, oh, they're so cute. And I was like, oh, thank you. I love them, but I don't like them sometimes, you know? And so, like, and I tell them like, hey, you can call me anytime, like when we're leaving, that I'm leaving. And I'll be like, if I don't answer the phone, either I'm with a client or I'm yelling at my kids, one of the two. So just leave me a message. You know, I don't always yell at my kids, you guys, but if you're a parent, you do kind of sometimes always do. You feel like that anyway, but, so it's just being open, like, but obviously you don't need to share your life story with them, but you know, it's just conversation. At the same time, I'm helping you. Take a picture with them. I don't always take a picture. I get the vibes from them. I know Landon always takes pictures. And Rami always takes pictures. And that's great. You know, save it as their screen, you know, as their contact info, and vice versa. I'll help you with that. Because at the end of the day, like, I want to know it's you calling me. I always save their phone number as I'm sitting there. And I say, I don't save everybody's phone number. But I'll save mine, and let's save, you know, or I'll save yours and let's save mine in your phone right now. So then if you need to call me, you don't have to look for my card.
Right. So just finding like those tiny little things that just make the person feel that much more like, oh, I can call you, right? Have you ever had somebody say that? Like, oh, I can just call you.
Mhm.
Like in there,
Yeah,
like,
I can call you. Yeah, you
yeah,
can call me.
like wow. And like it
right here.
sounds so like almost like duh to us, but to the client, you know, that's normal. They're like,
Yeah.
we can, oh, cool, we can
Yeah, I'll be
call
like,
you.
this is my personal cell phone number, not the office number, is what I say. Even though my
Exactly.
office number is my burner line, right, guys? Like, it's that's the office number I called you from. This is my cell phone, my personal cell phone. I have it with me all the time.
Exactly. And that way they feel that bit of connection too. So there's so many ways to just make sure, and like I love how you just keep going back to like basically it's not that hard, like they're people, we're people talking to people. And sometimes, you know, anxieties can be there. But at the end of the day, what I've noticed, and Valerie, I don't know if you ever felt this before you were going to go into home, you were almost like, shit, for whatever reason, I feel kind of nervous or anxious about this appointment. And you're almost like, and then you go in and the appointment goes well. And you're like, almost like laughing, like, but then it's like, it's not funny because you almost talked yourself out of going in there. Like, do you know what I mean? So have you ever done that though? Like, you're nervous about going to see, you know, Dan at 4:00 and then you just go.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some times where it happens still. But I've done it so much, it's just like, yeah, you gotta help somebody, right? Let's just hope they answer their door, basically. So I can help them because this is important. I know you don't have coverage. But yeah, I mean, I've always, and it still blows my mind that people don't go to their last appointments, but like, I've gone to every appointment, and it's like, there's been times where it's just like, I don't want to go. Like, I'm so scared. Like, and sometimes maybe it's not the best of areas and all that. Like, and hey, like, and Christina told me this from the beginning, and I'll tell you this too if you're new. Like, if you're uncomfortable, listen to your gut and be like, peace, dip out for real. Like, it's not that deep, and you can call them and just make up some excuse and like, hey, can we do this over the phone? I'm so sorry. But first and foremost, make sure that you feel safe. So if that's the reason why you're not going to an appointment, then that's okay. But if because you're nervous because you don't want to go into a home, or you're scared and you're not going to be good at it, that's not an excuse. You'll be fine. Just call Christina, call your upline, call whomever you need to call to help you through it, right? I called every time. I don't anymore every time, just because I've been doing this long enough. I can get an idea. I know where I'm going. However, if I feel like I want to just call Christina every once in a while, or like I get something that just throws me for a loop, I'll call her or call Marisa. And it's just like, two heads are better than one. I'm just going to call my senior field underwriter real fast, just to make sure I'm going in the direction that I think I should be going in, you know, because two heads are better than one. They're like, oh yeah, absolutely. Call her.
Love it.
You know, and
more credibility, right?
Yeah. So it'll get easier as you go. It's okay to be a little bit nervous, because then that kind of just shows that you care and that you want to be able to protect them. And then that's all it is. Like, they'll see it too. They'll feel that. If you go in there and you're tense and you're nervous, they're going to feel that, just like a dog will feel it. You know what I mean? If you're nervous around an animal, they're going to feel that. You just got to relax, just breathe. You'll be all right.
Exactly. Just go in and act like it's a family member, it's a friend's house, right? That's what I always say. And like you said, we're just going in, we're talking to people talking to people, like that's it. So, Valerie, in hindsight, what are some things that new agents might maybe like drop the ball on and not even realize they're doing when they're getting started?
Well, reinventing the wheel, thinking every lead is a sale, because it's not. You have to work it. Just because they filled out a form doesn't mean that they're going to get for life insurance from you. For real. And don't get discouraged because of that. We see it all too often where people are like, oh, this doesn't work. You know, this isn't life, and like, you can't make any money in this company. Like, well, bro, like you're here in the office for an hour and a half and you've called 5 people and you booked 2 Zoom appointments when you could ever went into the home. Like, you haven't had 100 in-home appointments. I'm sorry, like, you won't catch me doing any Zoom calls. You won't catch me doing it over the phone. You know why? Because I'm not comfortable that way. I need to see people and look them in the eyes. That's part of what I do. And what works for you doesn't work for me. What works for me may not work for you, but follow the system. If you're going to do Zoom and you're going to do over the phone, then you need to call Dawn, because Dawn's the boss, right? Look at her.
I love it.
Get on those Zoom calls, right? With the virtual salespeople. But, you know, just, you got to know that you're going to have to put in the work. And if you buy really cheap 1 month, like 3 month leads or aged final expense leads, you're going to have to buy probably quadruple the amount of leads, because those are bad numbers. They've already got covered. You're going to have to work even that much harder. So it's like, do you pay the extra money for more of a current lead to maybe get more appointments? Or are you going to put in the 8 to whenever it takes me to get 15 appointments time in, right? Because you're going to suck. We all sucked at the beginning. And, you know, have your scripts in front of you. I still have a script in front of me. It's like a baby blanket. It's always in front of me. I have a setup that it is every time that I come in and dial, everything's in the same order. It has a place. So my script, I don't look at it, but it's there. I know exactly where it's at if I need it. And it's my script. And even though I could tell it to you verbatim right now, what it says, it's still right there. Just because sometimes it doesn't click, right? Or you're like, you know, so you're just like, oh, I'll just look down real fast. Okay, we're good. You know?
Absolutely. So like, what I hear a lot of is like activity wins. Like, you can do anything in this business, but it's how hard are you willing to work, right? Like, that's what it comes down to. Because like you said from the jump, it's like, you can do like everything right, but if you're not calling the leads, you know, like you said, you come into the office, you make 5 dials, and you're like, I don't know why this isn't working, because I drove to the office. Well, you only did one thing. You didn't follow the system, right? So activity wins, right? Like, at the end of the day. And
the numbers will play out, and it is
always
a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. You could sit there and do every single thing right, and you may not get one sale. And that's okay. Just tell yourself that's okay. Because then the next time you might sell 10 out of 15. The next time you might sit with every single person. You may not sell everybody, but I'll tell you what, that's a successful day. You cannot sell 0 people, but if you sit with everybody, you're like, yes, you know, you're winning because you sat with people. And so,
right. Because the numbers are now working in your favor, right? It's like, you got that many no's. You're like, okay, so tomorrow is going to be a great day because,
it's
you
going
know,
to be a great day. You know, it is because the numbers.
Exactly. And that's really a big thing to drive home is like, activity wins, but consistent activity wins. You can't do this for a week and be like, it doesn't work. Well, like, no disrespect, but like, you didn't work then. Like, you gotta try it longer than that. So it's not something you can really test run for a week and be like, oh, this works, it doesn't work. Give it 30, 60, 90 days and like consult with your upline, right? Ask questions.
Don't
Valerie,
lie to
like,
yourself.
you're never shy. Yes. Don't lie to yourself.
Don't lie to yourself. Because I could sit there and come on now. I've had 15 appointments, I tell Christina. I had 10, come on, like, we've all told her we've had 15 appointments, but we really didn't, And so you're like, yeah, you're telling Christina a lie, but you're telling yourself a lie, like that it was okay. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that was part of it too, where it was like, stop lying to yourself. Like, just do it. Like, it's not okay. Like, you don't like the feeling going home knowing that you only got 10 appointments. You like the feeling when you go home when you have 15 appointments and you're like strutting your stuff. You're like, yeah, I got this. I'm about to kill it in the next 2 days, because it's a different feeling. You all know that. Like, and if you haven't had those 15 appointments, when you do, you're gonna be like, aha, that's what she was talking about.
And it makes it worth it every dial day, right?
Mm-hmm.
That feeling on like it's like on Tuesday and on Friday, you can have one of two feelings. Like, I really had a great day yesterday. I really messed up yesterday. Like, make it the first one and it will be consistent, because you'll never want to feel that way again.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not just ruining Monday, you're ruining Tuesday and Wednesday. It's not just
Right.
ruining Thursday, you're ruining your next 3 days.
Absolutely.
Don't
And you're
do-
gonna feel like, okay, so I've got 6 appointments, but one's at 8, one's at 11, one's at 4, and 5:30, and then the next day I have 2. Those days are gonna be so long. They're gonna be the longest days that you've had. But you fill up your schedule with 8 appointments, 7 appointments, 8 and 8, however you want to do it, right? And you're going one to the next, one to the next. I don't know if I'm gonna be on this one in time. And you're going, and all of a sudden the day's over like that. And it's not a long day at all. But I've worked harder. I saw more people than I did the other 2 days. So it's just like,
Exactly.
you may think that you're going to be busier, but in hindsight, it's going to go a lot quicker than if you don't have those appointments.
Yep, you're helping family onto the next, helping the family
Mhm.
onto the next, onto the
Mhm.
next. Absolutely. I love it. And then to kind of close out, Valerie, what are your goals in 2022?
Yeah. So I want to hit Hall of Fame, y'all. Like, it's,
Let's go.
it's doable. Like,
More than.
yeah. And so, like, again, it's a roller coaster. April's not as big as March as right now, but I'm still plugging away. I'm still going. Like, and that just means, like, if April ends up being a slow month, that just means May is going to be more than 20K. I'm hit at 30K in May. You know what I mean? Like, it'll all even out. It's an law of averages, right? And numbers, and it's just like, I can't be mad about it. I've been working. I could be mad about it if I wasn't working. And then there's only myself to blame. So it's just keep grinding, keep doing it, and just know that, especially if you're new, that you're going to have ups and downs. Like I said already, it's a roller coaster. But if you just believe in the system and follow the system and just work, it will be fine. You'll be good. And so, yeah, Hall of Fame.
Awesome. I love it, Valerie.
I haven't hit that whole building a team yet type aspect. I know, like, it'll be easier than I think it is. And then I'll look back and be like, what was I thinking? Right. Kind of like everybody does that, but right now it's just Hall of Fame.
That's part of the drill. And no doubt in my mind, you'll definitely hit Hall of Fame, Valerie. Like, you're going on the up and up and up, and your attitude always just stays like even keeled. And I just respect the heck out of you for that. And I'm just looking forward to what the next few months bring, because like you said, it's all about how much activity you put in. Those are going to play the numbers, but what else is going to play the numbers is how many leads did you buy? How long were you at the office? How long were you not distracted? Right. All those things go into play too. So no doubt in my mind that, you're going to far surpass Hall of Fame, and we're only in April. You know what I mean? Like, you can absolutely do it. So super proud of you. And does anybody